Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, we need to make you aware of our recent Launch Good campaign. These podcasts and YouTube episodes cost us a tremendous amount of time and money. Your donation will be a sadaqah jariyah. Please support us in any way you can. We're not asking for a lot. And if you donate $25 or more, we will personally send you a free Mad Mamluks t-shirt as a token of our appreciation, while supplies last. We're also set up on Patreon where you can support us on a monthly basis. Within the first week of this episode's release, thousands of you will download it. If each one of you donated even just $1 every month, that would sustain this podcast for years to come. For your one-time donation, go to www.launchgood.com/TMM. And to support us monthly, please go to www.patreon.com/themadmamluks. The links will also be in the episode show notes. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks. I'm Mahin and I'm joined by my co-host, Sim Mort. And today we are here with a guy that you may not know the name, but you definitely know about his project. Sajjad Shah, who is the writer of Muslims of the World. He's also the chief marketing officer of Minder. So holler at him on the side after this if you need to get hooked up. And he's also a successful businessman. And whatnot. So first of all, Sajjad, thanks for coming through. Obviously, a guy doing a lot of great things in the world today. Muslims of the world. I've heard of Humans of New York, right? Is that something similar?
So basically, this is the Muslim edition of Humans of New York.
How come you didn't do Muslims of New York?
Because I'm not a poser. I had to do something better.
Uh-huh.
We're trying to do something more. We're trying to make it inclusive to all the world.
Okay. Now you're from Indianapolis,
Fishers, Indiana.
Is that
born and raised?
Born and raised.
On the playground is where I spend most of my days.
I like this guy already.
So, where did this? Talk a little bit about your background, like in corporate or whatever business that you've done, and then how you kind of got into these projects.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So I grew up in Fishers, Indiana, which is pretty much it's like white central. It's white people everywhere, and I was accepted too into the white community. So I've been studying them for years. So, I went to Hamilton Southeastern High School, and then I went to Butler University. I did my undergraduate in accounting. I then did my master's in public accounting, went on and got my CPA, worked in a Big Four accounting firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers, doing international tax strategy. But the thing is, as a Muslim growing up in this country, you really don't know where you belong, especially if you're like this Pakistani and you're like the only, brown person in your
really white
friend group. Yeah, exactly, right?
You're white at heart.
Yeah, I'm white at heart, right? So, it was like this struggle that I was going through, and I was experiencing in high school, then at Butler, then in corporate America. And I realized that this struggle that these Muslim youth are going through, it's really causing a bunch of mental health issues. It's causing them all this drama in their life, identity issues. So while I was working in corporate America, I always felt that I wanted to do something for the Muslim community. And that's when I started this page, Muslims of the World, about 3 years ago, which is basically a platform that shares stories about Muslim people. It takes a photo, a photo of the person, and shares their story. And these are stories that talk about love, racism, women empowerment, hijab, you name it. If it's something that is an interesting story, you'll find it on Muslims of the World.
So do you have any Trump supporter Muslims on there yet?
I think we do, but they don't have the best intentions for the page. They're just watching our every single move.
No, but you guys didn't, because if I understand, because I don't think I've heard of Muslims of the World. I don't know if I've actually been to your page, but I know about Humans of New York.
Yeah.
Right. You'll see someone that has a story. You'll see the pictures. It's like maybe they're with a family, right? And it'll be like a quick paragraph, right?
Yes.
So do you have like a Trump? Do you have like a Muslim with with a fist length beard? And like a MAGA hat and like his pants above the ankles?
We do. We have I'll tell you, you have to go to the platform and see what we have.
Okay.
But you will find it there.
Okay.
We have people, black, white, brown, people that are even talk about how they have issues with Islam. We're open to that because we want to We want to understand where our struggles are so that we can be a better group of people. So
Well,
I have no problem sharing all kinds of views on that page.
I mean, that's exactly what I love about this kind of effort is that we're not, pigeonholing Muslims into a specific type of category.
Yeah.
Something that, people in the West want Muslims to be and how they should look.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see on certain media channels that you'll see like really hipster looking Muslims, and you'll see like sisters who look nowhere near what your wife or mom or sister look like at all in real life, but they're represented as the ideal Muslim woman.
Yeah.
And I think having an effort like yours is kind of combating against it's almost like a derogatory
mold that we're putting in people in. And I'll tell you what, it's interesting because I'll share a story. I remember I shared a story of a Muslim woman. She was a hijabi, but she was a convert.
Yeah.
So she had tattoos all over her hands and everything. It caused so much drama in the comment section. If you go to Muslims of the World and you look at the comment section, it's unbelievable. It's like, this girl's strand of hair is showing. Why are you featuring her? Yeah. This person's not wearing hijab. Why are you featuring her? This brother doesn't have a beard. So I think that us Muslims have to stop being so judgmental too, because we are a judgmental group of people.
Totally.
And we're not getting anywhere as a ummah if we continue this.
All right, I'm going to up the ante a little bit right now.
Let's do it.
Because I agree with all that. I agree that as far as acts, like people, everyone's struggling with faith and whatnot. I don't know what you guys have as far as a platform, but like a lot. But there is a so Mad Mamluks. We generally talked about like we're like a Sunni Islam platform. Shiites, we would say, are still Muslim. Like we're Muslim. We're not saying they're not Muslim.
Yeah.
And I think for someone like I assume that they would be okay for someone like a Muslim of the world. I assume you'd be fine to have a Shia guy. But is there a place you draw the line? Like for us, I think we don't mind if someone would bring on a Shia Muslim to their platform if that's something that's cup their tea, as long as they don't say something totally egregious. But the reality is that we don't consider the lay, because we have a scholar on our on Mad Mamluk, Sheikh Amr, he's on this show specifically. But we're like, there still has to be a definition of what Islam is.
Yes.
Right. So someone, for example, there's this dude claiming to have the #1 Muslim podcast, but he's not even Muslim. He's Qadiani. Right. We would say that person shouldn't even. You believe in another prophet, like sorry, that like expelled like you could look like a Muslim. You could have a turban with a fist-length beard and be in the masjid 5 times a day. But if you believe in another prophet, like your 5 prayers aren't even. You're completely valid. It's what nothing counts. Yeah. Right. So are you putting some kind of a limit on that as far as what's going on in that angle?
We do, because I'll tell you, the thing is, when you get stories sent in, so the way it works right now is people send stories in to us, and we read the stories that we like, we post. Sure. And we get stories sometimes that will be highly controversial. Yeah. And the thing is, we don't want Muslims to argue with each other in the comment section. Like, that's not what this page is for. We're not trying to create fitna in the community. Yeah. However, I mean, when you have the following that we have, which is 260,000 followers on Instagram, right? No matter what you post, it's going to cause drama. Yeah. I mean, to the point where it's like, because for me, for example, I believe that Islamically, Muslim women should wear hijab. I think that's part of the religion. But if a Muslim woman doesn't wear hijab and she wants to share her story on my page, I have no problem sharing that. But then people in the comment section would be like, brother, she's not wearing hijab. Why are you featuring her? I don't think that, because like, listen, people are struggling with different things. I'm not the judge, and I'm not God. It's between God and that person. Yeah. But at the end of the day,
I think that's understandable. But I think something that I would probably take exception to is highlighting some of the very oddball, intersectional parts of our community, like someone who's identifying themselves as a transgendered Muslim
anarchist.
Who is also handicapped and happens to be from a mixed ethnicity background, and all these different
and as a Trump supporter.
So I'll be honest. Here's the thing. In certain political views in this country, they like to put people into identity boxes and say, okay, you can check off these boxes and you belong in this group. And I think there has to be a line between promoting something and then acknowledging a problem. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Because someone could say, hey, look, I struggle with homosexuality, or I struggle. That's one thing. Then to say, you know what, I'm a gay imam and we're talking about it and we're making it mainstream. Yes. Like, there's two different, because somebody could very well struggle with homosexuality,
Yeah.
maybe before Islam or even as a Muslim.
Yeah.
And I don't have a particular problem with that. Everybody
Yeah.
has their own struggle.
Exactly.
Right? But if someone's going to come and say, you know what? No, we've got to be more accepting of them, and meaning that we have to alter our religion, then that's when I believe the line should be drawn.
That is
I don't mind
very-
engaging them,
Yes.
and saying, hey, I don't want to, because the idea is that if you force them out, they'll just join somebody else,
Yeah.
and they'll
Somebody
be a
that will
mouthpiece
accept
for
that.
them. You know what I mean? And you don't want to do that unintentionally, but I think that's where the problem is, right? Where do you draw the line between promoting something that is against Islam versus trying to, recognize a problem within the community?
Yeah.
I mean, so let's just say somebody who's identifying themselves as a person of LGBT and they're flaunting it proudly. It's not something that they're saying that, hey, it's something that this is a problem that I'm struggling with, but they're actually promoting this type of behavior, and they send a picture to you with a rainbow on their head and wearing a mustache.
So it's so funny that you guys are bringing this up, because first off, it's a very tough thing to actually navigate.
Yeah.
And I hope I don't get exposed on this podcast and I get people hating on me.
We put you on the spot.
But what I would tell you is this. So this is where I plug in my Muslims of the World book. After the platform became very popular, we ended up getting a publishing deal with Abrams, and we came out with the Muslims of the World book. So we went out, I hired a photographer, I told her to travel the whole world and get these beautiful stories about Muslim people. And now our book is available for pre-sale on Amazon. We're 1,000 copies away from New York Times bestselling list, so make sure you go get a copy, Muslims of the World on Amazon. But the publishing company came up to us and said, hey, Sajjad, you don't have any LGBTQ stories in your book. And we would like for you to include, a gay Muslim in your book. So I'm sitting here now. I'm going to be honest with you. It's very clear what Islam says, the rulings on Islam when it comes to homosexuality.
Right.
And it's not just Islam, Christianity and Judaism too. I mean, it's not unique to Islam. And then, so we have this big New York publishing company telling us now, we want you to include a story about a gay Muslim. And I said, well, I don't feel comfortable doing that because I don't want to endorse that type of behavior. And they're like, well, we think that's going to really hurt you in the long run because you have a book and you're talking about inclusivity and, bringing Muslims together no matter who you are, what you are. I said, yes, I completely agree with you that is my goal. But I'm not going to now alter my religion just so that it can be accepting of everybody. Because then what is Islam? If we're just going to say yes to everything, well, he has a drinking problem, just let him drink.
Yeah.
Or he has, he loves bacon, let him eat bacon. I mean, where do we draw the line?
I
think that's the
habitual fornicator.
Right. So I think
Yeah,
that's
it's like I
yeah,
love
right,
women. It's
right.
like, oh, okay, because you love women, go sleep with 6 women. It's
exactly.
Like,
And
give me a
so
break.
yeah, exactly. And that's part of the bigger picture. The problem that we have is there's a big push in this country to try to make Muslims view Islam as a cultural identity rather than a religion.
Yeah.
Right. And there are people out there who are saying, for example, I'm a Muslim atheist.
And it's not well,
Right. I mean, and so they're saying, meaning what they're trying to say is that I'm culturally a Muslim. Like I might say salam, but I don't really mean it. I might say inshallah, but I don't mean it.
Yeah.
It's just part of my culture. And so I think in this regard, they're trying to say, hey, you know what? They're still Muslim culture, so you should include them, but they're not on the same page as us when we view Islam as literally like the way we live. Like that's what we judge right and wrong by. You know what I mean? And they want to shift us away from that slowly. And I kind of liken that to the Reform Judaism, meaning that
it's also Islam has also been categorized as a position of an oppressed intersection of society. So now that Muslims are identified as an oppressed minority, Muslims need to help other oppressed minorities,
Yeah.
and those oppressed minorities will assist Muslims, and sooner or later, whatever differentiated you from those other minorities that were oppressed, you have to kind of start promoting.
Yeah, and
those
be okay
beliefs.
with that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I have a very bold personality. I'm not trying to be, as a lot of people, as you said at the beginning of the thing, I'm not trying to be known by the people. I want to be known by the angels and by Allah. And that's why I really don't care what people
So
think.
what happened when you told that to them?
I got what I wanted. And that's the other thing. I think that we need to stop actually always being like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we're right. We got to change. I got to
Ooh, that's
include
That's
this.
good.
amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
My book is still out. I don't have any stories about the LGBTQ, and I have nothing against them.
And this is
but I just don't want to endorse it from a religious perspective.
And I'm guessing this publishing company is a well-known publishing company, right?
This is one of the biggest ones in New York. It's Abrams,
Yeah.
and they do like very, very, and their whole team was pressuring me. And they were a great team, by the way. I don't want to badmouth them, but they were a great team. But they were really putting a lot of pressure. They sent me maybe 6-7 emails throughout, a 2.5 to 3 week span about, guys, I think we really should include these stories.
Holy cow.
But I believe in the haq, and I believe in ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah.
Dude, I love
So
it.
for that
I'll
reason,
be honest there. Like when I first came to the booth to get you, from Mint, I wasn't sure like what to expect.
Dude,
as a person.
I was expecting to meet a liberal dude who's
Yeah.
ready-
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a very straightforward
He's
person.
probably
I'm like,
wearing rainbow-colored underwear.
Yeah, like this guy is totally down LGBT, probably down with No, and here's the other thing too. Now I'm not trying to crap on other people, and you kind of introduced me to the ill Muslim guy, right? And I kind of know a little bit about the organization.
I've actually been to one of their events.
And for me, and for me, like, no. And so for me, I was like, the thing is, no, hold on. He's got a thing for ill Muslim, like, he wants to get down. No, but here's the thing. Like, for me, I have certain limits, meaning in my own, I don't want to make, like, a religious, decree on them, but I have my own, like, my own views about how that goes down, right?
Yeah.
So when you kind of introduced me to that, I'm like, oh, maybe he's kind of down with that thinking too,
Yeah.
So I had no idea. Now when I hear you talk this way, I'm like, well, that's great, because a lot of people don't want to stand on their principles for many reasons, for money, for comfort, for ease, being politically
and let me
correct.
tell you, and when we discuss Minder, I'll tell you, I actually I would consider myself a conservative Muslim. And if it wasn't for the fact that so many couples have came to me and said, hey, I got engaged or I got married because of Minder, then I would be like, hey, people are using this inappropriately. I have to back away. But I'm telling you, the problem with Minder is this.
Yeah.
There are so many people getting married and engaged off Minder. They don't want to say that they got married or engaged.
Yeah.
So now then people don't know about the success stories, because I it's to the point where I tell people, hey, if you're willing to go open with your story about getting engaged or married, I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, and people still don't want to do it.
Wow.
So it's like pretty.
There's a stigma with being
But
like.
so the thing is,
yeah.
though, then what ends up happening is there's a reputation that's like, oh, well, people are just messing around. Nobody's getting engaged or married off Minder, which that's not true, because I know it.
That's the assumption we had.
Yeah, and people are.
I thought it was just like a Muslim version of Tinder where I could just swipe right and find like a girl to have.
And let me tell you, even the
DTF.
name Minder, it's a very controversial name. Now I'm very into business. I did it because from a marketing perspective, that was a solid name, and that made it instantly popular.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's Minder. Oh, it's Minder. And at the beginning, I will tell you this. There was a lot of haramis downloading at the beginning. But now what you will see is hijabis left and right, people who are like scholars that are on there. You'd be surprised who's on Minder now. Very solid Muslim people.
No, here, what you're talking about exactly what I experienced in 2001 when I met my wife through AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
And my parents had warned everyone, like, hey, don't tell anyone that you met your wife through the internet.
Exactly.
Like, why not? Like, no. People will think that, you're up to no good and you're like a loose cannon. I'm like, dude, I didn't meet my wife through an intermediary. I didn't like holler at her at a chat room. Like, there was like an older sister. She was a Arab sister who was like in her 50s or whatever. And she introduced me and my wife. And within 3 days, me and my wife decided to get married. Right?
Wow.
And I'm not saying that that's the rule for every couple or anything. I'm just saying, like, we had made a decision to get married and talk to our parents, and we engaged in our conversation within the context of marriage. And our parents were still embarrassed about that. Like, so being on this new medium that brings all these, social connotations, like, oh, man, they might have hooked up before getting married and all that. I can understand that because people have all the stigma associated with just a whole new platform of communicating with the opposite sex, right?
Yeah. And let me tell you, this is the thing. I mean, people abuse Instagram. People abuse Twitter. People abuse Isna Convention.
Yeah.
People abuse Minder. I mean, so the thing is, like, it's a people issue. At the end of the day, once again, it's between you and God.
Yeah.
You can use Minder appropriately. You can use it inappropriately.
Do you think you should put reminders, though, on the
So
on
we
the
do
app?
have, like, when you download the app that, like, hey, like, this is an app for marriage. If you're looking to get married. And I tell people, like, people are like, Sajjad, I'm not married. And people are like, Sajjad, do you use Minder? And I'm like, no, I don't use Minder. Because, listen, if I'm not ready to get married, I'm not going to be on Minder just messing around with, girls and, swiping right, swiping left. So I tell people, hey, listen, you have to be... we're all grown men.
Yeah.
And we're all grown women.
Yeah.
You got to make the right decision yourself. Of course, there's a reminder.
I understand that, but I mean, I think like, what about like having a small hadith on the bottom, like, hey, when you two are alone, there's shaitan in the middle or something like that. I'm not saying that's specific hadith, but something that
something like that. Hey, listen,
a small reminder, like, hey,
something like that.
When you guys decide like you want to take it, move a little bit forward, get a third party involved, like,
or something that like, don't forget Jahannam is hot.
Yeah, I mean,
something like exactly,
that's something Mahin would.
No, but I think he made a good point though. You know why? Because like I remember, look, let's be honest here. I've been going to Isna from Chicago since I was a shorty. I mean, a long time ago. I stopped going for like 10 years, right? Only because of the podcast, I started coming back, right? Because for me, I mean, Isna became a place where you just went to get partying and get women. I mean, it had to be a place,
Yeah.
And so
I was like, they offer lectures here?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I mean, everybody knows I used to be a bad kid, and I was out doing crazy stuff in Chicago, and Isna was money market for me. I mean, at that time, I mean, it was just money season. People from out of town, were people around. I mean, but
everyone got lined up. Or were their best clothes?
Yeah, I mean, and the point. No, but the point that I'm making is that, but there are some genuine people who came and traveled and had genuine intentions, and those people continued coming and the other people maybe were rooted out, like they kind of, it's not exactly what it is. And I think the other thing is, no matter what you do, right? I mean, there's always going to be people with alternative intentions, right?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I know when I went to the Kaaba, there was one guy in the middle of Fajr time. He came in a convertible, was like moonwalking on the Haram floor.
No.
Can you imagine? I mean, so anywhere you go in the world, you know what I mean?
And
like
there's a beautiful hadith from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Your actions are by your intentions. With Minder, with Muslims of the world, we have good intentions. And inshallah, our actions will be blessed with that.
Right.
So what is your what is your main focus? Is it the book or is it really Minder? Like what's your drive right now?
My drive is Muslims of the world.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. Because this page has converted people to Islam. This page has changed the way Muslim youth are seeing Islam. Right now, Muslim youth are looking at Islam and they're like, man, dude, I don't even want to be connected with this.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is, with these stories, we're trying to make Islam popular again, make Muslims Muslim popular again.
Do you want to show less of brown people? Because I feel like brown people are showing a little too much.
We have a lot of
You know what
Arabs,
I mean by that? And we're all brown here in this room, so we can talk a little smack about our own people right now. So what I mean by that is, when other people are interested in your religion, people are attracted to something that's, more
That looks like them.
That looks like them.
Yeah.
Just to be frank, like whether it's white people, black people, or whoever, when you include people that look like them, you're removing an obstacle, however small or large it might be in that person's mind, but you're removing that. And what I always tell the guys is like, we gotta highlight some of the different ethnicities that are taking place within Muslims. Like we have a lot of Latinos, we have a lot of white scholars on our show. A lot of different people from various different backgrounds. And I know, like, for the longest time in the 90s, it was like really cool for everyone, all the brown and Arab guys, to show like, hey, here's a cool black imam. Make sure everyone follow him. But now we're kind of realized like, hey, that kind of pigeonholed us into this one category of people. But there's Islam is for all these other ethnicities as well.
My barber is a super cool guy. He's a Latino, and he says, every single time I get my hair cut, I tell him a bit about Islam. And at the end of it, last month, he told me, he said, Sajjad, I believe everything about Islam. He said, I believe this religion is true. I said, man, why don't you then convert to Islam? He said, how can I convert to Islam, man? He's like, I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, what does that mean? I was like Puerto Rican. So I mean, he has this idea that because he's Puerto Rican, he cannot be Muslim, right? It's like so he doesn't think that because he's Puerto Rican, he can't be a Muslim.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to remove that type of stereotype in his head because
absolutely. But real talk though, I mean, if we're talking about this, I mean, brown people in general are like low key racist a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Dude, especially the old generation, they're low key racist. Like I mean, they'll be all great in the public about, oh yeah, mashallah, he's our black brother, right?
Yeah,
but when it comes time to marriage, you see how quickly
like,
he changed up.
Like, slow your roll, Denzel.
What? How dare you? You're trying to kill me. You're making me feel bad about myself, Yeah. And like they think it's actually a curse from God, like that they're trying to marry outside of brown.
Yeah.
And I think that translates unconsciously towards the next generation.
That's not just our brown people. That's like with Arabs and everything.
No, I'm saying, but since we're talking about brown people, I'm going to mention it too. I mean, of course, there's low-key racism, but the difference here is this, though, is that I think here's the fundamental thing. In America, honestly, most of these organizations and massages are funded and pushed by brown people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's more of a responsibility than us to take that away, because we have a lot of the power in the States, meaning in terms of money-wise, who's donating, who's creating initiatives, who's in the media front. I mean, a lot of it is brown people.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and I think it falls on us to say, hey, you know what? We got to root that out from the bottom. You know, I mean, in my family, I call it the United Nations. I have everybody. I have Irish, Puerto Rican, Black, Somali. I mean, you name it, everybody in it. You know, Yemeni, Palestinian, Syrian, you name it. So the thing is, but in general brown people's society, like it's very looked down upon. Like, you know, like, hey, you can go to the masjid and talk to them and invite them for iftar and Ramadan one time, you know, no problem. But
that's where it
beyond
stops.
that, like beyond the cordial stuff, there's a line unofficially. And I think that sometimes causes Muslims to feel isolated, you know, who are especially new to the religion. Like, they feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this culture. I'm never going to get, there's so much cultural baggage that is along with that, which they can't just be a Muslim.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like,
it
brings in other stuff.
And the thing
with
is, you know, when Islam already is very difficult to practice in itself, putting that, it's just another layer of complexity that they have to deal with. And it's just, it's not right. So yeah, I have more faith though in this next generation. I feel like we're a little more open-minded. I feel like we don't really care too much about skin colors and ethnicity, what country you're from. I think that's like a lot of our parents' generation. But
I'm actually thinking about making it haram for my daughters to marry Daisies, and it would. So they have no other. They have to like.
You're right. You should issue a fatwa.
Yeah, I'm like, no. It's like if you
reverse racism.
I'm from Ohio, so I'm like, my daughter's conditions. Only thing, I'm happy. I'll be happy with you in life if you don't go to Michigan. Marry someone from Michigan, or marry a Daisy guy,
or be a second wife. That was one of your things that you said in previous podcasts.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. If we're gonna promote the sunnah of polygamy, we got to be okay with our own family members also participating.
So that's the thing, though. No, for real. So how is Minder and like I said, because look, there are some, we talk to other people with different marriage websites and different platforms, and they're like, no, we have a one wife policy, right? And so I was talking to the girl who's a representative of the booth yesterday. I forgot her name. Yeah, and she was like, no, there's not a one wife policy, so pretty much, you know, you could potentially find a second wife on Minder.
You should say it. She said like you should announce it in your.
Of course, yeah. I'm not. But I'm saying that. Yeah, but I'm saying there's not an official. I mean, for my now, I want to clarify. Is there an official ban on like a guy who's married and he's openly admitting he wants to find a second wife? Is there like an official ban on Minder? Like, will you get kicked off Minder for saying, "Hey, I'm looking for number 2. My wife's okay with it, but I'm looking for number 2."
Because once she told you that pretty much was like that's what guaranteed you were going to come on this podcast.
I need to see Sajjad now.
You know, guys, we could have talked about a lot of stuff in this podcast.
Sajjad, are you married?
I'm single.
You're single. Holy cow! So you're
my single. Do you mean like one wife only? Single wife?
I mean, one girlfriend. But No. I am. I'm single. I'm focusing on a lot. You know, my projects. I got a lot on my plate. But inshallah,
I understand. I got married late too because I was really focused on.
Yeah.
I'm like.
Well, I'm 26 years old.
Okay.
So I mean, I still got
time, dude.
You got time.
Yeah. So I got
10 years, Ak.
Yeah. Inshallah.
Yeah.
But hopefully, by 27, 28, I want to get engaged or married. So
yeah.
You know, give it a year.
Is there someone on the horizon though? Give us a teaser trailer.
You know, maybe there is.
Oh,
maybe there is.
Minder?
No, not through Minder.
God forbid, I'm not savage like these other people.
No. I'm just not using Minder right now.
I think his leftovers are going to Minder. He's like, hey, you guys take this.
I got this app.
Well, you know what's interesting is this. What's interesting is this.
We're not a good fit together, but I got this great app.
Yeah, I got this great guy in my cousins might be liking you.
So let me tell you what's really funny. So on Minder, every single person that wants to download Minder has to go through an approval process. Now, I handle that approval process. So I see both the girls and guys that want to join Minder. So when I see a really good-looking girl, sometimes I reject her profile so I can hook my brother up with her. So I'm like, I'm not going to let her in the system. I said, let my brother first reach out to her. If she's not interested, then I'll approve her profile.
Oh, mashallah, man.
What a good pal.
Man, I try to serve this woman in all the ways possible. So.
And that's actually more efficient for her.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, girl,
it's not like you're doing her not a favor. You're actually like, okay.
Exactly.
And I'm sure you move in a qualified circle of people who are accomplished. So, I mean, how bad could it be?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
We're going to take Sajjad as a no comment, right, about the second wife thing.
That's fine.
Well, you know what's funny is this. So I own a consulting firm. One of my clients is Pure Hands.
Pure Hands?
Yeah. Pure Hands is a nonprofit that focuses on the Yemen crisis.
I thought it was like an anti-masturbation type of thing.
No. crazy.
You know those. You know Radia Awad's. What's her?
Sheikh Rami and Sword?
Yeah. Well, no. What's that?
Taiba?
Somebody had that one website for Clear Eyes or something like that for Muslim men who are addicted to porn.
Oh, lower your gaze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Purify Your
Megan
Gaze.
White's husband.
Purify Your Gaze.
She had Ramadan. Yeah.
So I thought it was one of those type of websites.
No, Pure Hands is not anti
Pure Hands is
masturbation.
Anti-fap website.
Yeah. It's another nonprofit. So you know, Pure Hands is run by a bunch of Yemeni men.
Yeah.
So when I first met them, you know, so Muslims are a world that has a giant following. I'm able to raise, you know, a couple $100,000 easily when I do a fundraiser. So I joined, like, you know, I work with some nonprofits and I raise them money. So Pure Hands, I got to figure out these Yemeni men. Now, Yemeni men are very interesting because these guys all have 4 wives. And at first, you know, when I started working with them, I was like, you know, I met
You're
one
talking to somebody who's half Yemeni, so
Yeah, well then you should go to the Pure
they got
Hands
one
group.
in different countries. Actually.
Yeah, they have them in different countries. They're very strategic. But I met them and I figured out how they handled the situation, and they're brilliant. So I gotta say, it works if you want to go that route. But
I mean, let me put it to you this way: my uncle's got 3 wives, and he married his third wife when he was 78 years old, and his third wife is 35.
that's crazy.
And she wanted to marry him,
Wow, that's a savage.
and he had twin boys. He had twin boys at 80.
Oh my gosh, is he Yemeni?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yemenis just pop them out like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so what I'm saying is, but you know, to be honest though, I mean, look, I'll be honest, I don't want more than one wife. I think that
But how do
Yeah.
you get in touch with your uncle? Because I want to be his murid or something.
I'll put you in touch later. But look, I think most people here, like, I mean, a lot of guys joke about it, right? A second wife is a nice
Yeah.
idea. But reality, if you're living in America, bro, it's economically burdening on you to have a second
Yeah.
wife. You know what I
And
mean?
you know what I
really
mean?
have to be
And the other
a
thing
top-
is, you know, from an Islamic perspective, there are rulings that, like, everybody talks about 4 wives, nobody talks about the rulings that go along with it. You know, to treat a woman equally, that is difficult. So I would recommend people, I mean, listen, you can do whatever you want.
There's a lot of professional sisters out there who just, you know, want a husband, and they wouldn't mind being a second
But then you better be a
Oh
trophy
yeah, no.
husband.
Just so you know, on Minder, I know for a fact that there are women that are okay with being second wives. So it's not like it's like, oh, this doesn't even exist. This is like just something that men want. No, actually, some women who are very career oriented are like, listen, I'll have a husband, I'll have fun with them when I want to have fun with them, but I'm like focused on other stuff.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
he's looking for that list, by the way.
Can I get that list?
Yeah, it's gonna cost
Oh,
me
wait, I
money.
gotta
But yeah, I'll
edit
send
this
it.
part out.
Preferably a doctor.
My wife will murder me.
No.
I mean, it's a
But yeah.
win-win situation.
But then, hey, at the end of the day, we can't make fun of it either because it's sunnah.
No,
You know,
not at
and-
all.
and,
I
like,
mean,
you
I
know,
welcome
it's
that. I mean,
No,
if,
it's not
to be
just
honest,
sunnah. It was actually recommended in the Quran, the way the ayah is written.
Whoa. Hey,
That-
okay,
Yeah,
whoa.
according to Sheikh bin Baz, says that 2
Yeah.
wives is the default.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'm not gonna get in the whole recommendation thing, but here's the thing: the reality is that it's what I'm trying to say is that it's more than just smashing when you get married, right? There's a lot of other things you got to do, right? You know what I mean? And so the second wife, you know, it can be burdensome for a guy, you know, and anyone who's married knows that hey, there's a lot of real stuff you got to worry about. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just about.
Like you gotta take care of her needs and her emotional
Yeah.
needs and her physical needs and financial needs and all that
And there's
stuff.
kids and there's like the stress.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's just a lot of
And
stuff.
I just think, I mean, based off the way I'm looking at it, these men can't even handle one woman. So I would just say, listen, just stick with one. And if you can do that right, just make it to Jannah.
All right, so now people who are trying to get on to Minder, how do they? How would you assuage their concern about creepers? Just people who are just like, oh, let me just look at chicks online, or you know, let me just see who's available in my area, who's on the market, who's not. You know.
Well, listen, when you're signing up for Minder,
Yeah.
you are giving the green light to people that to look at your profile, so you're putting yourself out there on Minder. So you have to understand when you get on Minder, you are choosing to do this. Nobody's forcing you to do it. We're not forcing people to join Minder. So if you want to get on there, know that there's going to be things there's consequences that come with it. People are going to see you on Minder.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to see your profile.
Yeah.
People in your community are going to see you.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to deal with that, don't download Minder.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, listen, man, I think that now Minder's kind of getting to a point where now you have professionals that are just like, they're really great girls are on Minder, really great guys are on Minder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, oh man, they all look like, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's like, no, there's like really good looking people on there
Yeah.
and they're educated, they're good Muslims. But dude, as you guys
No,
probably know, people are busy.
Yeah, no, and
So-
it's like you want people who are, you know, serious about marriage.
Yeah.
It's not like people who are just like there as entertainment, you know. Because there are those people in our community who just want to know like the latest,
Yeah, there's people that just want to talk to girls. There's people that just want to talk to guys. Like,
Yeah.
so I completely agree with you. And like, unfortunately, from a Minder perspective, like from a admin perspective, there's nothing we can do about it because I don't know what people.
What I'm saying is, what I'm trying to hint at is charging $2-3 a month, or maybe $5 a month, so people take it seriously. Like, it's not just like a swipe left, swipe right app where people are just it becomes like a rate my picture. You guys remember rate my? Well, you're kind of young.
Mark Zuckerberg.
When we were in college, there was like these rate my pic apps.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Hot or not.
Hot or not.
Yeah.
Right. So it just becomes like a hot or not type of app.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Because here's the thing, man. Knowing what I know, and I have 3 daughters. A lot of girls, they sometimes just sign up to this stuff to get their confidence boosted by seeing like 100 guys swipe
just
right
like
on
me.
me. What is it, swipe right or so?
Yeah, like who's
right.
interested in me? Like, who's really gonna think I'm pretty, right? And so some guy, and there's some troll lurking around.
You guys
like,
have girls that listen to this podcast?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I have girls that hate me on this podcast.
You're saying me. You got some of the hate mail that Sam and I got.
Yeah,
Whoa,
if you want to say something,
Sajjad,
just be
there's
open.
sisters who love us as well. They love our brutal honesty.
Yeah. Sisters, I'm so proud of you. If you're listening, I just want to let you know.
So
we care.
Yeah.
But
here's the one thing. Honestly, though, I mean, look, I think like there's certain apps like Tinder that have like a premium
Minder,
policy
you said
where.
Tinder.
Huh? No, but I'm talking about Tinder, not Minder.
Okay,
I'm saying there's certain things that apps like Tinder and that also have like a premium membership where you can actually pay.
So we have premium membership on Minder. So let's say you're looking for a hijabi from Syria. You can pay for that extra
so if
feature.
you want to do advanced
let's
searches,
let's say you're swiping through a profile and you're like, wow, she's the one. I want to talk to her. And you're a guy. You can spend $1.99 to send her a telegram that is like that's like saying like, hey, I know that we're doing this swipe right, swipe left stuff, but you're from Palestine and you're from in the city in Palestine. You're hijabi and you have the Quran memorized and you're exactly what I want. I think we should get to know one another. So we have that on Minder actually.
Okay.
So it's not just that, but we also have the model is also.
So how does it work? Let's say I'm looking on Minder and I just what a swipe right means you want, and swipe left.
Swipe right means you like her. Swipe right means you don't like her. Now, if she swipes right and you swipe right on her profile, it then creates a text box where you can have a chat conversation.
You can't just like randomly stalk sex pest somebody on like
no, and that's the other thing. Just so you know, that's where kind of the protection comes in the sense that you can't just get harassed by guys unless you swipe right on theirs, which shows that you're interested, and they swipe right on yours, which shows that they're interested. Then you'll never be able to speak to them unless that happens.
Got it. So one question in my mind: has anybody gotten mad at you for being catfished like on Minder?
we have some catfishes, yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear just one small like your most memorable like event to you, like what happened? Because you know why? There are shows based around this, and people have genuine fears about this.
So this is the thing. We actually now have a selfie verification on Minder. So now if you want to download the app, you have to take a selfie, and then if that selfie doesn't match with the photos that you put on there, you get rejected.
Okay.
But originally,
driver's license too. I thought.
Yeah, and now also, if you really want to have a premium profile, you can send your driver's license and all that stuff to me.
Is this kind of what?
That is our precaution so that we can prevent this, catfishing from happening. But I would say, even without catfishing, sometimes these girls and guys put up photos that are really good, and you're just like, what the hell when you see them in real life? Because you're like, man, you were like spickly splat in the photo, and now you're like kaboom. So stuff like that,
Yeah, I guess it's kind of natural for that to happen in any dating.
It's with anything, yeah. I mean,
so who's reviewing like all the pictures that people are uploading and stuff? Is that you?
So we have a full-time staff that does that. That all they're doing all day is approving profiles.
I think Sim wants to be on the women's side, like to reviewing the pictures that come.
Yeah, if you want to approve.
Have you ever had like two people, like let's say let's say me and my wife are married. We're married to each other, right? But like we independently, with the other person not knowing, get on Minder.
Yes.
Have you ever had a situation where a husband and a wife swiped each other or found each other on Minder? And like
that is hilarious. So no, that would be funny and kind of messed up and probably a reason to divorce. But we have had situations where husbands have been on Minder and they've been caught by like their wives' friends. So.
Oh wow, my wives' friends.
Yes, and
juicy.
Yeah, and then we'll get a customer support message that says, "Hey, can you please block this guy because he's married and has 3 kids?"
Oh wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So before we wrap up here, I actually want to take it back to Muslims of the world.
Yes, we need to push this book. This book is important.
Okay, tell us about your favorite story you've ever come across.
Okay, so I'll tell you this one story, and this is a story that has to deal with hijab. Are you guys ready for this?
Sure.
Because this is going to make you feel some type of way.
Okay.
I'm good.
So in 1955, in Syria, there was a family of 5, a mother and a father and 3 daughters, who decided to flee the country, flee Syria, and head to America. Now, the father told the wife and the 3 daughters, listen, I'm going to go to America, I'm going to go to California, I'm going to get everything set up, and then 3 weeks later, you and the 3 daughters come meet me in California. So the father flies to California, is getting everything set up. 3 weeks pass, the mother takes the 3 daughters, and they head, from Syria to America. Their first flight was from Syria all the way to New York City, where they had a layover. Now, when they landed in New York City, the customs said, hey, you guys are here new to America. You need to take all your hijabs off for the green card photo so that you guys can, stay in America. So the mother, being by herself, not really knowing the English language, is nervous and scared. She said, okay, she took the hijab off and took the photo, put it back on. Next oldest daughter did, second oldest daughter did. The third daughter, a 13-year-old girl named Hala Atik, said when it was her turn, hijab is part of my faith, and I don't want to take it off for this photo. And the security, they kind of went back and forth with her, and they said, well, listen, little girl, we'll send you back to Syria if you don't take your hijab off for this photo. And she said, I would rather go back to Syria. And this is a young 13-year-old girl who flew all the way from Syria to New York in a foreign country. They're in a foreign country. She should be scared. She doesn't know what's going on. She said, I would rather go back to Syria than stay in this country if you guys are going to take my religious, rights away. Security came, management came. They put her in a back room. They made each older sister go to her separately and talk to her. They had the mother go talk to her. Then the 13-year-old girl said, I don't care who you bring back here. I will not take my hijab off for this green card photo. After 2.5 hours passed, the whole security's there, management's there, cops are there. They finally said, hey, little girl, you can keep your hijab on, you can take the photo. And I have the photo. It's a beautiful photo. It's a black and white photo.
What year is this again?
What was this?
What
1955.
Year? Wow.
Now, the mom is super upset at this time because she's nervous. She's missing her husband. Syria to New York is not an easy flight. And she's like, you're so stubborn. Why don't you just listen to me? So they grab their suitcases, and she's like pissed off at her daughter. And they run to their next gate. They miss their flight. So now this family who spent all their money, they're like, Syrian refugees. They're now like even more scared and even more worried. And the mom's like, now what do we do? They go to United Airlines. They talk to them. They negotiate. They're like, well, we can't do anything. You guys are making it difficult. Finally, they mutually agree that we'll put you on the next flight to California. They get on the next flight. While they're flying to California, the mom is yelling at this 13-year-old girl like the entire time. Like, you're so stubborn. I miss my husband. I'm tired. They land in California, and their husband's, the father's there, and he's in tears and he's crying. And he's like, you're alive. You're alive. And they're like, why wouldn't we be alive? The flight that they were supposed to get on, American Airlines number 191, crashed, killing 295 people. It was the biggest crash in American Airlines history.
Wow.
And the young girl, Hala, 13-year-old Hala, looks up at her whole family and says, hijab saved our life.
Wow.
She was there in California. I'm having an event on September 8th. Hala was there. Hala's coming. She's now an old woman. She still wears hijab. I put this on my platform, Muslims of the World, about a year and a half ago. Over 40 million people ended up reading that story because it went viral. And out of that 40 million, when it went viral, about 10 people converted to Islam because of that story. And about 20 Muslim girls have messaged us and said that they've put on hijab because of this story.
Wow. That's
That
awesome.
is probably my most favorite story.
I can't imagine there's anything better that can beat that.
Now, let me tell you this. On my September 8th event,
Yeah.
there's going to be the picture, black and white picture of her on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell Hala Atik to stand up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell her that after the story went viral, there was somebody that wanted to meet her, and there was a Hispanic girl in New York City who ended up converting to Islam because of this. And I'm going to tell her to stand up. They're going to be right next to each other. They're going to have no idea who each one another is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So September 8th is going to be a nice event.
That's awesome.
I'm only saying this because by the time this is published, it's going to be after September 8th. So.
All right, well, Jazakallah khair, Sajjad, for coming on. Appreciate a lot of the projects you're doing, a lot of great work. We look forward to certainly collaborating, meeting, hooking, and linking up again soon. I would say we say hook up. It's like
I think you're still thinking about Minder right now. But listen, one thing I just asked the people that are listening. Getting this book, Muslims of the World, on New York Times bestselling list is super important. The book is $13. It's on Amazon. Get on Amazon, type in Muslims of the World, and purchase your copy. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
How do I look at Amazon right now?
It's on Amazon. You just type in Muslims of the World. That's the way. It's an honor to be part of your guys' podcast. You guys are great, and I will promote this for you guys as well. May Allah put barakah in your work.
Thank you, man. And yours as well, I mean.
Thank you
All right, for our special guest, Sajjad Shah from Muslims of the World and Minder. From our co-hosts Mort, Sim, and I'm Mahin. Also, forgot the last plugs. All right, guys, YouTube. We're on YouTube now. Subscribe on YouTube. We're on Google Play on Android. If you have an iPhone, subscribe on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Follow us on those platforms. And we will, inshallah, be talking to you guys very soon. Assalamu alaikum.